were they encouraging, or did they kind of dislike that?
Yeah, well, once again, you talk about the difference between football and baseball. So his football coach was Jerry Glanville, the man in black who encouraged MC Hammer to hang out on the sideline of Falcons games. I mean, he wore big belt buckles and, he was a big character himself. He was great with it. And he actually says in the film that, on this weekend when Deion tried to play both sports in the same day, Deion wasn't there all week, so he decided he was not going to start Deion. So he benched him for one play and then put him in because he knew, hey, I need Deion. No matter if he's here or not here, he's a great player. I'm going to use him. Now, baseball, Bobby Cox, and especially John Sherholtz, the GM of the Braves, they didn't see it that way at all. They were very, very adamant that if you decide you're going to play for us in the postseason, in the NLCS, then we don't want you leaving. And Deion saw it as well. I won't miss a game, but in between games, I'm going to jet down and play for the Falcons. The Braves did not like that, and it really colored the relationship from then on. I mean, he signed a long-term contract, but then was traded to the Reds, and it was because of the fallout of this event, of this weekend, that if it happened today would be the biggest news story of the year.
Yeah, obviously everybody has always made the play in NASCAR with the Indy 500, the double there, right? I mean, right. We think that's cool. We think it's different. But what I wonder about, especially because of the perception of Deion sometimes, and you've now lived this film and you lived that day, is that day looked upon as a selfish play by Deion Sanders, or was this a guy trying to be loyal to both of his locker rooms and his teammates and help them out in big situations?
I'd like you to tell me, because everyone who watches the film feels differently. I think if you're a baseball type person who thinks that one thing at a time, if you're old school, like a lot of baseball fans are, because that's why they love the sport, the tradition, then you're going to look at this film and really feel like Deion was being selfish. I mean, you can make an argument. Okay, you didn't miss the game, Deion. You made it back, but you missed warm-ups. They didn't know if your plane was going to arrive in time. They have to set their lineups. Yeah, okay, you were there, but come on, you're kind of, messing with them. If you're Deion's side, I know what Deion would say. He'd say, "Hey, a cheetah doesn't need to stretch." And so, if you're predisposed to like Deion, you're going to love Deion in this film. If you're predisposed to think that this was an act of marketing and trying to become bigger than the game, you'll think that. Because the truth is, I think both are true.
Yeah.
I think Deion was a really loyal teammate and wanted to be there, but he was well aware of his marketing image and what this was going to do. And I think it blew up a little bit for him. I think he thought it was going to be a lot more positive than it turned out to be.
Yeah, very interesting. You did the two Bills as well, Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells. And people love that one, right? I mean, because we got to see a side of Bill Belichick. I mean, people still, just last week, I think we were talking about Bill Belichick, and you talk about personality, and you talk about all these things, and they said, yeah, but in the two Bills, it changed my perspective on it. Did it change yours? And just how well received was that 30 for 30 that you did?
That's the response I get is, wow, you SOB, you made me like Belichick a little bit. What am I supposed to do now? I thought he was the dark Sith, and now I realize he's just a regular guy. I wasn't really surprised because I've seen it, but I think it's a lot like Deion. He doesn't care to let everyone know who he is. He's comfortable enough, and to be honest, in a self-confidence way that not many people have, that he's okay if people dislike him. It doesn't really bother him. He doesn't mind that people think he's grumpy and all, and he puts on that face. I would care.
Yeah, that's not a natural thing,
I'm
right?
I'm sitting here now trying to sound professional and look the part, and that's what we do as people. Bill Belichick is so secure with who he is that he doesn't feel the need to do that. And once in a while, he lets that wall down, as he did in the two Bills, and you say, oh, he's a real guy, and he's nice. And here he is apologizing to somebody that he was in this heated war for, and talking about how they love each other. And it was an amazing thing to see that wall break down for everyone to view, because I think long term, people are going to forget about those grumpy press conferences and remember him as just this master of not just football, but of himself. The most self-disciplined man I've ever been around. You know, he's always on to the next game, always on to the next play. If you watch him on the sidelines, he doesn't celebrate touchdowns. He's already on to the next thing. That takes such strength of character that I'm not sure we'll ever see someone that as strong-willed again.
Ken Rodgers with us, directed the two Bills, directing Deion's double play that will debut tonight, of course, on ESPN. And as we let you go, and I know you've got a lot to do, I'm a TV guy by nature, TV geek, if you will. I love the behind the scenes of the industry. These 30 for 30s have changed the landscape of television in a lot of ways, in my opinion. First of all, tell me if I'm wrong about that and I've missed something. And just the whole birth of this thing, it's had to have taken off, I mean, to the nth degree more than anybody would have predicted. Do you see it that same way, or what am I missing?
There's very often one show that can change everything. You know, a lot of people point back to The Sopranos as starting off this like golden age of TV hours on cable television. I've been working on Hard Knocks for a decade plus, and I think that show, when it came on HBO, redefined the sports reality realm.
Sure did.
When it comes to historical docs, 30 for 30 it's like Kleenex. You know, it's the brand that defines the genre. When you talk to anyone about sports documentaries, they'll say 30 for 30. So the platform is a great one to tell stories because you know that non-sports fans are aware of it. And that's really the golden egg for all of us in working in sports is, okay, we know sports fans are interested in this story, but are there significant others or are there parents or kids who aren't really into the story? Are they going to watch and be enthralled by the story enough that they start to become sports fans?
Yeah.
And that's really the genius of the 30 for 30 model is creating this genre that is so hooked to that name. I mean, it was 30 films for 30 filmmakers to celebrate 30 years. Well, I mean, I think this is film 100.
I was going to say, what is it?
I think this is 100. So it's like, I mean, it's not 30 for 30 anymore. The title doesn't even make sense. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't tell ESPN that, but you know, it doesn't work anymore. Yet it still defines sports documentaries today. So it's really a study in branding. I would guess that anywhere in sports studies in college, they're studying how do you create something like 30 for 30.
Yeah, it's really helped change the landscape. By the way, we're talking Deion's double play. Austin Lane played football in the NFL for 5 years. Now is an MMA fighter. Yeah. See, we got our own little double play here on ESPN 690.
Hey, start filming.
There we go. I like the idea, man. Brent, get on it. Let's go.
We're getting on it. We always record the shows. We'll do that. All right, one last one before you go. What do you want to do that you haven't done yet? Can you tell us, or are those secrets that you don't want anybody to?
You know, I think we're in the middle of it right now. The Tom Brady experience. I don't even know. I don't think it's a film. I think it's a 30-part series. You know,
yeah.
I think you could do so much, and we've captured so much through the Patriots, and the Patriots have captured so much. I think he will go down as the most disciplined player and strong in mind player, just like Belichick will go down as the strongest coach ever. Maybe not, certainly not the most athletic.
Yeah, true.
Right? No
true.
way.
Yeah.
But what he has inside of him is something that I don't think you have to study it if you want to be a quarterback. I think if you want to be a CEO or you want to be an MMA fighter or you want to be a lawyer, you'd be good off studying Tom Brady and figuring out what he has in his head that allows him to do what he has done and trying to replicate it because he's not like the rest of us.
No, and much like you did with Parcells and Belichick, he's got a curtain that's still up, and there's so much unknown about Brady. I mean, we know he doesn't drink coffee, we know his diet, and we know all that, but we really don't know all those other things, and I got a feeling maybe Ken Rodgers down the road will tell us about it.
That'll be a good one.
I like that.
Hey, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Tremendous work. I know I don't have to tell you that. You hear it all the time, but nice job. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait to watch it, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, thanks.